Well, hey, it's the Curt and Jen in the Morning podcast. I almost did that thing that people do. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there.
Oh,
That's the oldest thing in the book, isn't it? It is.
oh, are we being recorded? Did I actually click the Zoom link? How did
I
that
think
happen?
something happened. It is me, Curt, and Jen, who is deep in the well, what did I say? Cooley Dam is where she's near, so not a lot of
Oh,
service there. So we decided to have our good friend Stephen Kilbreath fill in for a few days. Thanks again, Stephen, of course, for getting up
well, it's great
early.
to be here.
Well, you do have to get up early sometimes because you're still on the picture tube in the mornings doing the traffic and also the weather on King 5 occasionally. Yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's much earlier than this, so I'm happy with the hours that you
This
keep.
is
So,
this is sleeping in. We discussed on most Thursday and Friday that you've not seen a whole lot of the Olympics, and has that changed in the last few days?
well, I saw the race. I was at the Mariner game yesterday, and they
Mhm.
showed the race.
It was the
I don't even
100
know what
meter
race it
sprint.
is.
Yeah,
The
100
what?
meter sprint.
The 100-meter sprint. So they showed that on the big screen, and everybody was excited to see that. I was. It was. I don't know if you watched. Did you watch that live?
I did. It was Noah Lyles who won the USA. Noah Lyles became the first American man to win in 20 years, but he wasn't named as the winner immediately because it was
No.
such a close race.
Yeah, no, it was interesting because it didn't look like he had won to me. But they wouldn't show a replay. It was like, well, you got to show a replay at some point.
Yeah,
But then he was showing his what do you call that, the badge or whatever, and so it's
yeah,
like, well,
his
did he
runner
actually
number or
win?
his name was there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
well, it turns out that he did win. Noah Lyles did by is that 5/1000ths of a second? I don't even know if I can know a number that small.
Yeah,
It's not
math is not
100ths.
my
It was 5/1000ths of a second that he won. And yeah, like the 100 meter, it's a pretty quick race. So there's a lot of people, you know, at the finish line at about the same time. It's not like,
right.
the long distant ones where one crosses and the next one crosses. So it looked to me like one foot was across the line, but evidently Noah Lyle's head or his nose hair, I guess,
Right.
uh, was across first. So that's well, a good job, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, if it were you and I, we'd still be running. So
That's right. Even at this point, I'd be at the 50-meter point, maybe now a day later. So, well, congratulations. We're not going to dive into all the because the U.S. has just won a lot of medals, and the names that keep coming up: Katie Ledecky. Yesterday, I believe, was it Bobby Fink won for swimming as well. So, and Simone Biles actually fell off the um, I can't even think what it's called. The beam,
bar, oh, the
the
beam,
yeah,
balance beam.
yeah. She was
Is it a
for the
balance beam?
the person who never makes mistakes. So apparently, so she did not medal in the balance beam, and she appeared to be frustrated with herself. It's like, well, you can't be that great at everything, or can you?
Yeah, I think she can.
She's pretty phenomenal. So that's all for Olympics for today. But we also got the news on, I believe it was Saturday when I texted you because you and I, Stephen, and my wife, you, whatever, whoever you wanted to bring, we're all supposed to go to the Aerosmith tour. And
Thank goodness I didn't have anybody to bring because now I get my money back on these tickets.
well, that's the thing is like this. So first they postponed it because originally it was supposed to be last September or November.
I mean, late December back in '63. I don't know. I don't
That
know when
was it.
that
But
was. So
regardless, so then they rescheduled it for coming up this year, and now they announced on Saturday, Steven Tyler is never going to fully recover from his vocal issues, so we are done touring starting right now.
yeah, that's too bad. I mean, you feel for these people who can't sing anymore or things like this happen to them because it's kind of their whole life. It's like
Right.
when things are pulled away from you, like, and I mean, I hate to make it personal, but like radio, or when radio was pulled away from myself, and then you just these things
Mhm.
happen, and it's your whole identity, right? That's Steven Tyler's identity, and that's
Yeah.
that's hard to do. The good news is he's probably got some things like lots of cash to go lay on and all that kind of stuff, so
That's
he's
the
not
thing.
gonna
Yeah.
be
When
hurting too
Jen and
much,
I,
but
and when you got let go from our radio programs, I didn't have, $10 million in the bank or even 1 million. or even 100. Okay,
Well,
I'm going to stop right there. So, yeah, the announcement from the band said, "We are grateful beyond words for everyone who's pumped to get on the road with us one last time. But what you can do now is play our music loud now and always. Dream on. You've made our dreams come true." So,
yes.
no more
Sounds
touring
like
for
Vernon and
Aerosmith.
Shirley, right? Making their dreams come true.
That's what I
But
thought.
they there's a very timely reference. But I would say that you know, you and I are kind of funny in this kind of stuff. Well, I mean, I know we like to go to live events and all of that, but it's also I was with a friend yesterday. It was like, well, I'd rather, you know, watch sports on TV or do all of these things. So you can turn up the CDs, they're going to sound like they originally did. And you don't have to spend $36 on a beer at Climate Pledge Arena. So there you
That's
go.
true.
So
And $100, $150 plus on tickets as well. So
right,
because ticket
right,
prices have gone
exactly.
up. But you have seen them before. I never have.
I never have. I never
Oh,
saw them.
okay. Well, my wife was bragging about how she has, so we can ask her.
Yeah,
We'll say, "What was it like?" And that'd be just like being there
yeah.
with Aerosmith
Yeah,
in concert.
they're one of the groups I wish I would have seen, and also AC/DC, which I never saw. That was
Right. There
I
may
mean,
still be a chance for AC/DC. We'll see because
yeah, they were in California last summer at the not Coachella, but it was at Coachella, but it was I
right.
can't remember the name of the show, but or
Regardless, that
Rock
would be one
Fest
to
or
see as well because
yeah,
I mean, we're kind of rockers
yeah,
that occasionally like a Barbra Streisand song.
right.
If you're looking for
I
someone
don't
to
know if
go,
it's occasional, by the
all
way,
right,
but
occasional. If you do need a friend to go to a show with or something like that coming up here, thanks to AI, artificial intelligence, you can now pay $99 for an AI companion. This is not the same as the invisible friend you had growing up, but it's close.
or the ones they promote on other kinds of apps where you can create the perfect partner for yourself or something like that. So what? How does it work? I mean, what do they do? Do they talk to you or text you or what is? How
Well,
does it
it's
work?
a product called Friend, and evidently it blew up on social media this weekend. A viral companion you wear it like a necklace, all right? And
Oh,
the pendant has a built-in microphone that listens and responds to whatever you say. So, one more way it looks like you're talking to yourself when you're out and about, I suppose. So they had an advertisement for it. The ad shows a woman eating and watching a show on her phone when the message pops up saying the show is completely underrated. I guess that's what the AI friend says. This show's underrated. And then it asks if her falafel is any good. So it
that's
sounds like
funny.
basically one person saying it's like did you ever have the Tamagotchi thing back in the day?
I've heard of it. No, I don't
Yeah.
know. The virtual, that was the pets, right?
Yes. So if you this is not it says you have to pre-order Friend. You can do that at friend.com. I assumed it was an app, but apparently it comes with this necklace thing.
Hmm.
Um this and they don't start shipping until we're a little early on this because they don't actually start shipping until early next year. But
Well, how sad is that if you're like, if you, but I
lonely
mean, it's
now.
not sad, but if you see this thing around people's necks, it's like lanyard
Right.
that has this, oh, it's my friend.
Hmm. Well, and I wonder if you can set it up so it doesn't agree with everything you say, like an actual friend. You're like, like, man, my AI friend, this is a great movie, and it goes, nah, I think it sucks. You know, your virtual friend that disagrees with you.
Then you
Uh,
have to buy a new friend. So they just keep, it turns against you and then you have to keep buying new friends or it
exactly.
starts hitting on your wife or something and it's like, oh, I
That
need
would
a new friend or whatever.
that would be something. Um,
That would be something.
that'd be something. So we saw this statistic, and the reason I even wanted to bring this up was because, okay, so it's there's a percentage of Americans that are worried that they're becoming their parents as they age, that they're turning into their parents. I'm not going to say what the percentage is right away because that's what we were a little bit, uh, because you and I like, well, aren't 100% of the people.
Right, right. Yeah.
Turns out it's about 1 in 3 people. 30% of Americans say they're worried about becoming their parents. And the average person first realizes they act like their parents at 30 years old.
Hmm.
For me, I don't know about you, Stephen, but for me, it creeps out in ways of things that I say, like, that my parents used to say, like, you'll rue the day or whatever. And then you're like, did I just say you'll rue the day or whatever it is?
That's funny.
Turns out that you
I,
do.
yeah. I mean, I think for me, it was, I mean, I've known for a long time that I am certainly my mother and And like my mother has to remind me when I tell her that there are also good things that she did as well that
Yeah,
I also employ in my body.
that's
But
true.
which is, yes, there are, but you just want to, when you hear certain phrases that are coming out or certain ways that you react to people too. It's not just things that they say, but it's like it's like deep down personality type stuff too. And I love my mother. She's great. We talk every day, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you can definitely see you can definitely see that. And I do recognize, and my therapist recognizes that there are a lot of good things that came out that way too. So,
Do you think you're more like your dad or your mom? Because I've met your
oh, my
dad,
mom for
Terry,
sure.
and
Yeah.
well, you look like your dad.
I do
Uh,
look like my dad. Yeah, you've met them
I met
both,
your
I
mom
think.
as well.
Yeah.
I don't remember the
But
resemblance. You look a lot
yeah,
like
I
your
look
dad.
like my dad, but I think my brother is probably more like my dad and I'm more like my mom.
All right. I think I take after my mother as well. So I also, I don't know why they put this other statistic in here. Um, I figured they have examples of this is what it's like when you turn into your parents. By the way, those commercials I love. Is it for Progressive?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some insurance, probably
Yeah, you
Progressive, but
just
yeah,
try to
that's
keep you
funny.
from turning into your parents, doctor
Yeah.
something. But they have the travel habits people are worried they picked up from their parents. Okay. And here's the top five are getting to the airport way too early, forgetting something at home, wanting to find the gate before doing anything else. We better get to the gate first. Going to the bathroom right before or during flight boarding. That's me, actually. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, it's like this, like you're now boarding. It's like, oh, something just triggered. I gotta pee.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And making friends at the airport. These are apparently what parents do. I'm guilty of almost all those things,
Yeah.
except
I
getting at the airport way too early. But
yeah, I don't do that.
my mother-in-law, I mean, literally, we better get, I've heard it. We better get there 3.5 hours early. It's like, no.
Yeah, my son and he's going to college in California, and we went to the airport, and we literally got there, and then they were boarding our flight, and he's like, Dad, this is the way you got to do it. And I'm like, this is how I do it. I mean, I like the little drama of it and all of that, and it is what it is. And I do like to make friends, not just at the airport,
Yeah,
everywhere that we go. I talk to people, and it kind of annoys my children. Bathroom is a good one. I do that as well. Wanting to find the gate before doing anything else, that does seem like a very older parent thing to do. But in my theory, that they're numerically ordered, so you know kind of where it's going to show up in the line of things. But it's not
right.
like here's gate 2 and then there's gate 43. If they did that, that would be a reason to get there early.
That'd be some good fun too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it does happen sometimes. You get to, you get to the gate and it's like your gate has moved to the other frickin' side of the
Oh,
world.
yeah, for
So
sure.
that does happen occasionally. But yeah, the making friends at the airport. You're right. I think some people are like, why do you just talk to random people? Why not?
Yeah.
It's like make friends when you can. Uh,
Usually it's when they're wearing, like if I was in somewhere or at the California airport and somebody had a Kraken jersey on or something. I
right.
mean, even though, well, yeah, I'm on a Seattle flight, you dummy. And it's like, well, yeah, I get it. Okay. But it's just like just talking to people, or maybe that was a bad example, but just like, oh, where's that golf course? Or, I don't know. To me,
Hmm.
it's just commenting on things.
Well, wait a minute. We had a weird, a strange sort of, I don't even know what you call it, where you were on a flight with somebody and you drew up a conversation. You remember this when I remind you of it. You were talking with somebody and you got to talking about the fact, Stephen Kilbreath, and you do, you're on TV, but also you do these fantastic auctions and events and stuff like that. I sat probably 3 months later next to that same person who
Oh, right.
started a conversation with me, and she's like, "What do you do?" And it's like, "Well, I'm because at the time I was going to San Diego to do an event to help out with an auction." And she's like, "Oh, my last flight I was on, I met this guy named Steven from Seattle. He does auctions too. So small world. Talk about that." Um, but
Has
yeah,
she hired us yet or no?
no, I don't believe that she has hired us for anything. But
We
she
didn't make
remembered the
that good of an
conversation.
impression.
You were memorable, if nothing else, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like we are hireable at this moment. If any,
That's
I know
true.
I'm not supposed to promote my own thing. I should have worn my Kilbreath Events T-shirt, but I did not. So
Well, what I like about doing the events with you, Stephen, is they're almost, I'm going to say exclusively, but you can't. They're almost exclusively for nonprofits. This is not cattle auctions and
right.
livestock or whatever the care, cars. And you offer, I think we offer good services at a really low price, and it's because you hear about these nonprofits that, maybe they're trying to raise, we used the example before, maybe they're trying to raise 30 or $40,000 for something for the school or for the church or whatever the case may be. And they'll tell the auctioneer will give them some story about, well, okay, it's going to be $10,000 for me to auction your thing. And the sound people, or what I do, the emceeing, is like, that'll be another $5,000. It's like, that's a lot of money on somebody who's just trying to raise $30,000. So we try to
Yeah.
keep it reasonable. And you're also passionate about the events that you do. You know about the nonprofits. You know what they're all about. And I think that says a lot versus just showing up and going through the motions.
Yeah, well, I think, but for example, like the 30 to $100,000 event, which those are great, but I think they're benefited by using professionals and people who care about them and people who are going to give them that same amount of effort if it were to raise $2 million.
Hmm.
And I think people see that, and I think that's true, and you're going to make it work for people if we can. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of the job. I mean, it shouldn't be because you make $30,000. Oh no, we're not going to do it. But
Yeah.
again,
It's
that's why we
well,
do it, because we love it.
so, and it's kilbreathevents.com if people want to find out more, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And we'd love to help you out with your nonprofit too. It is very satisfying, much more so than, because people assume, oh, you DJ weddings and high school dances and proms. Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, I have done that, but that's not nearly as satisfying as going to an event and helping out somebody that's raising a lot of money for a good cause.
Oh, the impact of that is phenomenal. Yeah,
It is
for
pretty
sure.
amazing. So on a completely different subject, the ABC song, right?
The one you teach kids,
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that one, yeah. Which it was just pointed out to me that that's actually to the tune of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which I never thought of before, but clearly it is.
Huh.
Apparently now there's a
I
new
didn't.
version of the alphabet song. It's not exactly brand new, it turns out. So you've got the one we've heard forever. Um, at the end is W, X, Y, N, Z. Apparently, some kids thought that was Y, N, Z, like there's a
Oh, the
letter N.
letter N.
And some kids also got confused by the LMNOP, which they thought was one letter, you know,
Okay, well, those kids are
HIJK. So you got HIJK, and then the next letter is LMNOP.
yeah, okay.
So they apparently this was confusing, and so they have changed some of the words, or the letters rather, in the ABC song.
Well, they
You
haven't
can't
changed the
they
letters,
can't
have
change the
they?
letters or the order, but they got rid of the new way. Pauses after the letter N, LMN, OPQ, RST, UVW, XYZ.
Well, now you have to sing it because I don't know if that's going to work.
Where would it pick up? And OPQRST, is that right? UVWXYZ. Now I know my no.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's interesting.
I
I
wonder
mean,
if years from now there's going to be some kid talking to a counselor or something saying, "I didn't learn my ABCs the right way, and now
I
my life is messed up."
thought N was right before Z. What's going on?
That's right. Yeah, and I never got to use the letter LMNOP even once in my life. We have
That's funny.
something else that's kind of old school, I guess, is and I just think it's funny that they did actual research on this, but researchers conducted some experiments on, you're thinking, oh, it's got to be something important. They're going to find a cure for cancer. No, paper cuts.
Ah,
They did
okay.
some experiments on paper cuts. They found out the most dangerous paper thickness. So, in case you've wondered, or you're going to alter what you use for paper, um, the and I think this is pretty obvious. They found some paper thicknesses are less dangerous, like flimsy, thin stuff like tissue paper. How do you cut yourself on tissue paper? You don't.
Yeah.
Heavier, thicker stuff like postcards are less likely to cut. But the worst paper, apparently, and this is for paper cuts, and there's science behind this, a thickness of around 65 micrometers. Is it
Hmm.
micrometers? Micrometers
I
was
don't
the
know.
paper cut sweet spot. And that is basically your printer paper. Don't try it. Why are you? I can see you trying to cut your finger.
Well, this paper, whatever it is not giving me a paper cut.
Okay. So your typical standard printer paper is apparently the worst, although so often now people don't even use printers or paper anymore. You know, a lot of things have moved online and whatnot. However, in case you're wondering, that is what
Interesting.
to avoid. And I don't know if you change. I mean, what difference would it make if you have 65 micrometers paper or 70 or 60? I mean, is it that much of a difference
Oh, I mean, in the
as far as paper
micrometer
cuts go?
world, it's huge.
In the micrometer world. Right. So, and finally, they also determined that the angle of the slicing also played a role rather. So if you press straight down on the paper, nothing.
Oh, like I was doing. So I
Yeah.
have to do it at an angle.
So
Like,
you are, if you're interested for whatever reason in getting a paper
ow.
cut, it says it's less likely if you press straight down than if you take the paper and you cleave across the paper and down.
Oh,
Right now, people are
okay.
getting chills because they thought of that. You know, that's one of the things to just think of. You're like, ah, that's painful.
Yeah, I don't
Avoid
know.
the 65 micrometer paper.
I mean, this looks, I mean, just based on the eye chart here, it looks like about 68. So I think I'm pretty safe.
Micrometers,
Yeah.
micrometers. All right.
I don't know. Let me see. Yeah.
You'd be happy to know that Seattle is ranked at the top of another list, and it's one of the good lists that we ranked the top at. It was they went around and they tried to determine the smartest cities in the United States, and guess what? We are number one. We're number one.
Nice.
We're number one. Seattle's been
I
crowned
wonder
the
what that
smartest
was.
city. What's that?
I'm just wondering what that's determined upon. So
Well,
as smart as
they have the top three here. So Seattle was number one, followed by Miami and Austin, ranking closely behind. Apparently, the research assessed, I think there were 16 key indicators, things like connectivity and infrastructure, sustainability, the tech job market. Those metrics were also used to determine like the overall scores for each city. And Seattle, of course, we've got Amazon and Microsoft here, among others, as far as tech giants go. We're number one in the country, smartest city. We're the smartest city. Thanks. Yeah. So other ones, let me see. What was the list was the top 20. Excuse me. And number 20 was Minneapolis.
ah,
Doesn't mean they're
okay.
dumb. I
Well,
know
it
people
means
in Minneapolis are now listening, going, "Hey,
they're dumber than the 19 ahead of them, I guess.
dumber there." If Jen was here, she would say, "We don't use the word dumb. That's not a good word." I
Well, what
can't
would you use
completely
instead of dumb?
less intelligenter.
Less intelligent or
Yeah. Oakland was number five as far as smarts go, and San Jose number four. So California had a few. San Francisco was number seven. None of that matters. You know why? We got the gold.
that's right. I
We
mean,
get the gold this time. Seattle, number one smartest. So tomorrow, Jem will be back. So thank you so much for filling in, Mr. Kilbreath. It's been awesome.
yes. Yeah, thank
And
you for having me. It was fun.
before we go, you had suggested something that you thought might be a good topic for tomorrow. And we're going to blank on it now.
It was, oh, I just saw that there was a new Elizabeth Taylor documentary, and that wouldn't necessarily interest me, but I thought, if there was documentaries that I want to start watching more of those. So basically
Hmm.
it was just to get tips from people on which documentaries are out there, but
Yeah.
also who would you like to see a documentary about
There you
or
go.
something,
Yeah,
something
there's
along
so
those lines.
there are, and you know what the one of the nice things is, and this I'm going to go back. I'm dating myself here, but they used to have the VH1 behind the scenes, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I think that not behind it. What was it called? Behind the music? Yeah, that was what it
Behind
was.
the music. Yeah.
And you find yourself a band that you did not have that much interested in. Suddenly you're there, 20 minutes into it, like watching on the edge of your seat to find out if Vanilla Ice is going to make it out of Orlando or not, or whatever the case may be. And you find yourself having an appreciation. Maybe not that example, but there was a great Bee Gees documentary a few years ago that I was like, wow, I had no idea. That's kind of, a lot of discovery to be made. And so, what do you
Yeah.
think as what would you suggest as a favorite documentary? And
Oh,
also,
wow. Yeah. Or are you
a
asking me, or you're just
well,
you're
this is
just
just in
posing that?
general,
Yeah.
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 Your favorite documentary, and also who would you like, or what would you like to see a documentary made about? Because people are going to go with any of the Ken Burns stuff is phenomenal,
Yeah, for
the Civil
sure.
War, and he did the one on baseball, which I thought was great. So something to think about. Best
Yeah.
documentary. What do you want to see a documentary made about?
Well, I suppose now we need to see one on Aerosmith, right?
Is there one already? I'd
I don't
assume that
know.
there was, but there needs to be a new one on Aerosmith, including the more recent years. And maybe we
Yeah.
can find out if, well, when we can get our money back from Ticketmaster for our Aerosmith.
Right. Right. There is an Aerosmith documentary, but yes, I'm sure there is about everybody, really, probably. But it's interesting to. I need to watch more of them. Was basically the case. But and Elizabeth Taylor one inspired me, even though that's probably one I won't watch. But maybe you never know, right? It's
The
probably
Elizabeth Taylor
great.
one inspired you. Yeah. Well, again, you watch these things and suddenly, excuse me, suddenly you're caught up in it and you realize there's more here than I knew. And I kind of like it when that happens. Then
Yeah,
again, sometimes
I
you
think
watch a
so.
documentary and you're like halfway through it going, this is boring. This
Well, I
person.
watched three on on a plane on a trip I took recently. I'd watched all three George Michael documentaries, and each
Oh,
one of them was different. In fact, one of them was one he did of himself before he died, and they were all phenomenal. I mean, it was great.
right.
Very talented gentleman.
And you pointed out to me that he used to live in Dallas,
I think so. Yes. I mean, there's yes,
around
or had a
Dallas.
place there at least because
Okay,
I knew
regardless,
people.
yeah,
I knew people that knew him. So
all right. So let us know about that. Favorite documentary, what you'd like to see a documentary made of. And I think that's going to do it for today. And of course, right now I'm blanking on what Jen says at the end of every show. But that's kind of her deal. That's kind of her line.
yeah, but we feel it.
We do feel it, but I'm not. It's early, and I'm not feeling it right now.
Yeah. Make good choices. Was
Be
that one of them?
kind, make good choices. I don't know if be kind is in there. How pathetic is this? Or let the guys take over for a couple days. They can't remember my trademark line.
How,
All
how
right.
long
Well,
how long have you worked with her? You should know
it's
that
been
for
it's
sure.
been it's been a bit. It's been a hot second, as they say. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you checking us out, and thanks again, Stephen, for filling in. And we
It's
will.
my pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a blast, and we'll be back tomorrow with did they say still same bat time, same bat channel? They don't.
They don't say that. But what they say is make good choices, find joy, and spread kindness.
That's the one. Thank buddy for saving me on that one. Have a great day.